Hey friends, welcome back to Live at the Roxy on this Sunday evening. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you got some R&R and I hope you are ready to go into this week and that it's all downhill from here. I mean, life is good. Coca-Cola. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and there are a few different things I wanted to talk about tonight that I have been today, as I've just been catching up on different entertainment news stories and stories in the world that I just have gone through such rabbit holes, and some of them are fucking crazy. So there's this Ashton Kutcher Mila Kunis story because if you guys don't know, and we'll talk more about this, Danny Masterson was sentenced to 30 years, found guilty of raping two different women. And Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote letters to the judge about him in support of him. They were not in support of him, as in he didn't do this, but to talk about his character letters. And so did 50 other people, but they're in some hot water for this, and I'll talk about what's happened since then. Also, wanted to talk about some other entertainment stories following up on the Fallon story, as well as just the fact that then I was looking more into that, and I didn't even realize that there had been accusations at the Kelly Clarkson's show as well and Fallon's show, and now unrelated to that, but what's going on with the strike. Drew Barrymore, my favorite, her show is coming back, so just updates on late night and daytime, and then a little gossipy goss of something that I heard as well. So all of that, plus whatever you guys want to talk about on this Sunday night, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. As long as I am here, it is Sunday night and the week has not started yet. So I hope that you have a nice J, a nice beer, a nice long shower, whatever the fuck it is today, and that you're enjoying the last of your weekend. And let's talk about some of this stuff. Okay, let's go into it a little bit. Like I said, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. We're going to rip the Band-Aid right off. We're going to talk about the Danny Masterson story because I am on a deep dive. And because I've been on this deep dive, I'm finding things that I don't think the public is really privy to. I'm not saying they're not privy as in I am the public in this. I am just deep diving on Google and social media. But these are not stories people are talking about. I don't know whether it's because of Ashton Kutcher's PR and Mila Kunis' PR team, or whether people just don't want to piss them off, or whether people have different beliefs about things. But here's what happened. Danny Masterson was sentenced to 30 years. And then the story came out that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, along with that 70 show cast members and other people, had written letters, character letters to the judge so that they could help with the judge's, that could be taken into consideration during the judge's sentencing. There was a lot of backlash towards them. And then they put out a video. I will actually just play the video so you guys can hear what they say. As this is an observation, not a fact, but in the video, I think that Ashton Kutcher seemed very one way and Mila Kunis seemed another. Ashton Kutcher seemed to be talking and Mila Kunis seemed to be reading quite the statement. That was just my personal takeaway, but this is what it sounds like that they posted onto their Instagram.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that. And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
Okay, so that's what they said. And on the video, obviously, the comments are turned off. And a lot of people just felt like this was a half-assed apology. I actually saw this and was like, I wonder what these letters said. Now, let me tell you guys what my thought process was at this moment, because I'm just going to be 100% transparent with you guys. I don't know if you do what I do, but whenever I see something like this, I put myself in the position of somebody, right? You try to walk a mile in their shoes. And I was thinking, if somebody that I knew, who I experienced one thing with them, family member reached out to me and asked me to say something, character witness, I would never say that somebody else was lying or something different happened, but would I write them a letter saying my experience? If that was somebody I loved and really, truly like had a great relationship with, in which I never experienced anything negative. And I can't sit here and tell you guys that I would not tell my truth, while hoping that people realize that didn't negate from other people's truth. The problem with this is that a lot of other things have come to light since this came out, and we will discuss all of that. But I remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was, I guess I'm not going to name names because I don't want to be sued for anything. Nothing I could say, could whatever. There was something, I worked on something with a guy who was accused of, by over a dozen women, of all different forms of sexual harassment all the way to sexual assault. And I was shocked. I believed every single one of them because I believed them. There were so many women that had come out, and I absolutely believed what they said. A lot of fans started asking me what my experience with him had been. And I had had such a drastically different experience. And I didn't feel like sharing my experience negated what theirs was. And there was actually a lot of wild similarities with our experiences. Like when I worked with him, we were out of town. We were staying in the same hotel. We were staying next door to each other. He had asked me for dinner, and that's the same exact scenario that everybody else had painted. I thought he had asked me as a colleague. We went to dinner. He was nothing but lovely to me, opened up to me about parts of his life, and then we went back upstairs, and I went to bed, and he in his separate hotel room went to bed, never made a pass at me. There was never any funny business. Other women came forward with that same thing. He had asked them to dinner. He told them this and that story, same exact stories that he had told me. But then afterwards, he had assaulted them. And I, and again, I remember so many people asking me at the time, because I had posted publicly with this person. I had done shows with this person. I was friendly with this person. And they had said to me, like, did this happen to you? Did this happen to you? And it didn't happen to me. That was my truth. And that was the truth for me. That didn't happen. And so I remember saying at the time, I absolutely believe these women, that is what happened to them. Why the fuck would somebody make that up? That was not my experience. And so I do think that sharing your own experience is something that you are allowed to do. You are allowed to do that. That doesn't mean that somebody else's experience isn't their experience. But when I read these letters and then other things came out, I started to feel a little differently on it. So let's talk about what these letters said and then discuss the other things that came out. So, okay, here is what was said by Mila Kunis. I first met Danny during our time together on that 70s show. And from the very beginning, I could sense his innate goodness and genuine nature. Throughout our time together, Danny has proven to be an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure to me. His caring nature and ability to offer guidance have been instrumental in my growth, both personally and professionally. One of the most remarkable aspects of Danny's character is his unwavering commitment to discouraging the use of drugs. His influence on me in regards has been invaluable. In an industry, wait, hold on, let me just make sure that I want to make sure that I'm reading Mila's and not Danny's. I mean, and not Ashton's right now. Yeah, okay. Sorry. In an industry where the pressures of and temptations of substance use can be overwhelming, Danny played a pivotal role in guiding me away from such destructive paths. His dedication to avoiding all substances has inspired not only me, but countless others in our circle. Danny's steadfast in promoting a drug-free lifestyle has been a guiding light in my journey through the entertainment world and has helped me prioritize my well-being and focus on making responsible choices. His genuine concern for those around him and commitment to leading by example make him an outstanding role model and friend. Okay. And then that's what Mila Kunis stated. This is what Ashton Kutcher stated. Danny takes his job seriously. He is kind, courteous, and hardworking. He treated everyone from the grips to the teamsters to actors to the caterers as equals. As a role model, Danny has consistently been an excellent one. I attribute not falling into a typical Hollywood life of drugs directly to Danny. Any time that we met someone or interest with someone who was on drugs or did drugs, he made it clear that wouldn't be a good person to be friends with. And for me, that was an implication that if I were to do drugs, he wouldn't want to be friends with me, which is something I never would want to risk or jeopardize. I am grateful to him for that positive peer pressure. He also set an extraordinary standard around how you treat other people. There was an incident where we were at a pizza parlor and a belligerent man entered who was berating his girlfriend. We had never met or seen these people before, but Danny was the first person to jump to the defense of this girl. It was an incident he didn't have to get involved in, but proactively chose to because the way this man was behaving was not right. He was always treated people with decency, equally, and generosity. These really do go above and beyond to paint like this really, really great guy. And maybe this was their experience with him. And I was not there and I do not know, but to say that he is a role model, a great big brother, generous, all these, they're painting this picture. Simultaneously, Danny Masterson's ex-girlfriend posted on her social media, and she posted, her name is Chrissy. Again, going down all of these rabbit holes. Her name is Chrissy Bixler. She posted on her social media, and she posted the letters of support, a picture of Mila and Ashton, and said, "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you, ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're as sick as your mentor." So if you're like me, you Googled Ashton Kutcher, February 21st, 2001. This is a story I knew nothing about, but this is what came up. The chilling details of the murder of Ashley Ellerin and the Hollywood Ripper trial. In February 2001, Ashton Kutcher arrived to pick Ellerin up for a date, but she didn't answer the door because she had already been stabbed to death by accused serial killer Michael Gargillo. I guess the next day when he learned that Ellerin had been murdered, he reached out to the police. He said he was worried because he put his hands on her doorknob while trying to open the front door. So this is what she's referring to. I have no fucking idea what exactly this is about. If you go to her Instagram, she's continuing to post about Danny Masterson. There were 3 women that accused him, and 2 were found guilty. He was found guilty of 2 different cases of rape. The 2 he was found guilty of were the 2 that were not the Chrissy one. This was his girlfriend, and she had said that he had groped her, and the judge, I guess, found him not guilty of that because they were together at the time, even though she says that that was not something that she was interested in. So on her social media right now, Lala Kent, who you guys know had that is Vanderpump Rules star, had that crazy situation with Randall Emmett where a lot had gone down there. Lala Kent, champion of a lot of different women, she posted about this and she wrote out them all. And then Chrissy responded and said, I plan on it. And then she posted things about how some awesome guys are also the biggest abusers. Then she posted and said, y'all want to ask Ashton Kutcher if he remembers that orchestrated meeting between himself, January Jones, Laura Prepon, and me that took place in my, Danny Masterson's living room in 1998. I know the secrets your role model keeps, hashtag hidden cameras. It does make you start to wonder what's up in this situation. There was a lot that came out also about how Topher Grace was the only one who wasn't part of this clique, that he thought that they were all in like this, what seemed to be led by Danny cult almost like experience, and Topher wanted nothing to do with it. Again, this is all allegedly. And then I took to social and I found a few different videos that were quite alarming of Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson and Mila Kunis in interviews from the past, in which Ashton Kutcher was talking about having to kiss Mila Kunis when she was 14 for the show, and that Danny Masterson offered him $20 to slip her the tongue, and that there was this ongoing bet, and they're like laughing, talking about it on Rosie's show. And there's also this video of Mila and Danny Masterson interview.
Getting a job, and I didn't know. Yeah, and she was as hot as she was, 14, she was even hotter.
So he says she got the job and she was hot. And she said I was 14. And he said, yeah, 14, she was even hotter. Creepy shit. And there's dozens of these videos that are coming up of interviews in the past of both Danny and Ashton and Mila. And just a lot of gross shit happening. And these character statements, the apology that they gave that seemed bizarre, and these videos surfacing, just makes you really think and wonder what the fuck was really going on there. Also, Mila Kunis being 14 at the time of all of this happening. A lot of people talking about how inappropriate things were handled with her. And yeah, wanted to hear from you guys. Now that you have gone down the same rabbit hole by listening to me, what do you guys think about this situation? Danny Masterson, 30 years in prison. He's got to serve, I think that the judge said, at least 70 or 80% of his sentence. So he's not going to get out until he's in his 70s. His 9-year-old daughter right now, she also wrote a letter, and she will be in her 30s by the time he is out, if he is still alive. He is currently on suicide watch. That's what they're talking about. And okay, let's see what's going on in the Streamlabs. Jake Yakavetta says, I've been asked to write character letters several times, but I only did it once. It backfired because things came out that I could never have known. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. So that's why I don't take character letters as you're saying you know everything. Character letters are supposed to be about your experience of somebody's character. Now, it seems like their experience didn't seem to sway the judge at all, right? Which is a good thing. But yeah, did you guys believe their apology? Do you think that they should or should not have written the letters? Do you think, especially if they've got these skeletons in their closet, what do you guys make of that story about the 2001 incident and what Chrissy's talking about? Do you think that this is going to impact Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis? I want to hear from you. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. What a fucked up trial. The thing that I should have started with, but I will say now, is that it's awful what happened to these women. And I hope that they feel even a tiny sense of relief going to bed at night now, knowing that that justice will never be served, but at least somebody heard them and somebody believed them. Yeah. What do you guys think? Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer, super chat in. Getting your questions, comments, concerns, bits, bots, thoughts, and twats. As you guys know, this is a fan-funded show. The only way I'm able to continue this show is if you guys continue to support the show financially. I am very happy to be able to be here, especially during this time of strike. The strike has been very difficult on people in my industry, myself included. It's a wild time in which many of us are not able to talk about the things that we are usually able to talk about. And I do think that that has challenged me and led me to talking about some things that are uncomfortable to talk about, but are incredibly important to talk about, that are entertainment related, but entertainment adjacent. And thank you guys for continuing to watch me throughout this time and for supporting the show in all the different iterations throughout its 365 days in a row during the pandemic, to the certain months of Roxy, to once a week, to a couple times a day. You guys have been here through it all, and I really appreciate that. Mike Joyce in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says, given what Danny Masterson was convicted of, I can't believe anyone would write a letter defending him. Now, I don't know that I would say the same thing. And again, I'm not fucking justifying what they did. I'm just saying, I don't know that writing a character letter is you writing a letter defending somebody. I think it's you writing what your experience with somebody has been. I don't think that means that you're defending them as much as you're just showing that there are multiple sides to different people, and this is the one you've experienced. Jake Yacovetta says, those old interviews are a motherfucker, though. I watched all of them on that Twitter thread. It was all disgusting, and I really don't like Drew Barrymore right now. Wait, what happened with Drew Barrymore? I missed this one, and you know I'm a huge diehard Drew Barrymore fan. Are you talking about her coming back during the strike? Or are you talking about something Ashton related? What happened with Drew Barrymore? Let me try to Twitter it out. And I don't know which thread you were on. But let me see. Drew Barrymore. See, X now doesn't show me any of the shit that I need to see. Are you talking about the strike? Let's be real here. Drew Barrymore is from a wealthy legacy acting family. She wanted to pay the salaries of the crew and not go. Oh, so you are talking about the strike. You're not talking about anything to do. Coming back in the strike. Yeah, I saw a lot of people were very frustrated with this. A lot of people are pissed at this. I don't feel that way. I feel like, you know, I have to look further into how all my WGA friends are feeling. So the ones that I've spoken to have said very different things than the ones who are tweeting. And the ones who are tweeting seem to be lighting their pitchforks, and I get it, but I am a little confused on how this is crossing a picket line. Her show does not, as she said, and I don't know this to be the case, but this is what she said. As she said, her show does not include, her writers are not WGA, and she will abide by strike rules and not have any of the performers talk about struck projects. It's a very fucking difficult time to navigate. And people, and I'm not saying her, but people in her crew, IATSE, who's not on strike, and Teamsters who are not on strike, and people who need work. I don't know. Are they grateful during this time? Is she crossing the picket line? I don't really understand how non-scripted shows or reality shows are allowed to keep running, and some talk shows are allowed to keep running, but some talk shows are not. I know The Talk is full of WGA members, but her show, she said, is not. So that's confusing to me. In the chat, JMV says that's false. Her writers are WGA. She said they weren't. Do you know why she would say that, JMV? This is what her... and yeah, Jake is saying that something said that her show is struck under WGA. But she's saying that's not true. So I just need more facts on this one. Like, instead of everybody on Twitter and social being like, meh, 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 I'm curious what the WGA has to say about this. And if they say that she is going directly against what they wish, then that's fucked up. But I haven't seen that. In her statement, she said, okay, let's see. She had talked about why she walked away from MTV Awards. She talked about how she's owning this choice. We are in compliance with not discussing and promoting film and TV that struck as any kind. We launched live in the pandemic. Our show is built for sensitive times and has only functioned through what the real world is going through in real time. I want to be there to provide what writers do so well, which is a way to bring us together to help us make sense of the human experience. I hope for a resolve for everyone as soon as possible. We have navigated difficult times since the start. Where was what she said about WGA? I read it in the post specifically. Let's see. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm super curious. Just because WGA will be picketing outside of studio doesn't mean that everything that you're JMV, I think you're just spewing a lot right now. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but you can't say you know 100% fact. Do you work for the WGA? Because if you do, then if you're a spokesperson for the WGA, then I'm wrong. But that's it's not my understanding currently. I'm curious. I'm also she says that this is her call. I'm curious, what's her call actually? What's the studio's call? JMV, you literally do. You are a captain for the WGA. If you are, then please tell us what's happening here. But JMV, don't do that unless you're a captain for the WGA. You said I literally do. That's interesting. And then I would love to know more. Yeah. And I also want to know about like what she is doing and who's getting paid what. Yeah. And Jake says, I only know what I see. LA Times says Barrymore's program is a WGA coverage structure that is planning to return without its writers. So who's writing the show then? I'm curious. I want to read this LA Times thing. That would be fucking nuts. And I have no idea if the WGA and SAG are not in support of what she's doing, that would be such a bizarre decision to make. And it would be super disappointing. Especially as she mentions in there that she is abiding by the guidelines of the unions. So I don't know what to make of that or why somebody would do that, other than the fact that it sucks for all of us to be on strike and it's a very hard time to navigate, but there's certain things you can and cannot do. And I would have to have assumed that she wouldn't do that. Jake says, I believe Robin, but I can't read LA Times without a goddamn paywall. I know, me too, Jake. Well, we get like a couple a month and I always use them within the first couple of days and then it's fucking gone. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Send in your thoughts. JMV, you said without doxing yourself. I don't get that because WGA captains are allowed to say that they're captains. I had 2 captain friends and they're very vocal and they're allowed to say exactly who they are and their captains and how they became captains and stuff. Robin says, I'm not accusing anyone of lying or not. I just saw the LA Times saying, no, yeah, I think we're all trying to piece it together. I think we're all just trying to piece it together, which is like, that would be fucking crazy and really sad and such a bummer if she is just breaking WGA's. She's just crossing the WGA picket line. That would be wild. And it's not that actors can't do press during this time, Spidey. They can do press. They just can't speak about struck projects. So there's projects that have been given interim agreements that they can speak about. And there's also things they can speak about that are not struck projects. Like a lot of times on her show, if you guys watch it, it's fucking amazing. She talks about what it was like for them coming up. Like it's a lot about their life. I think he means user ID would be exposed. Okay, but then that's how bots operate, right? Like you can't just hide behind your ID and then be like, I know this for a fact. That's just how I feel, but maybe other people feel differently. I get that kind of shit all the time at Twitter. They're like, as a young Jew, and I'm like, and then they say something so wrong. I'm like, you're not a fucking Jew. It's just you're not. John Get Bent in the streamlabs.com/Roxy says, I got to run, but thanks for the show. Thanks, John. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. You the best. Oh, man, that'd be very disappointing if Chaz's source, trust me, bro. I know that's what the internet is. They're like, yo, trust me. I know I have the knowledge. And it's like, do you? Is that true? Let's see if we can find out more information on the Drew Barrymore situation from the WGA right now. If she's going to war with the WGA, that might be the dumbest move I've ever seen during this time period. That would be really, really crazy. Drew Barrymore announces talk show return amid strikes, says it will comply with WGA and SAG strike rules. That's the THR headline. So this is what THR said. Okay. The lengthy post. It stayed off the air since the strike began on May 2nd, but now unfortunately decided to return without its writers. The Guild has and will continue to picket any struck show that continues production for the duration of the strike. Drew's plans to premiere for season September 18th. It's understood that Drew is a signatory to WGA and that the show will be produced without literary material. Drew Barrymore show will not be performing any writing work covered by the WGA strike. Yeah, but that's confusing in and of itself, which is like, so is she getting non-WGA writers to write the show when usually it's WGA writers? Because that's scabbing. So what? I need more information. Or she how the Tonys did it. Is she having no writers for the show? What is the actual plan of attack here? And what does the WGA think about it? JMV says, Drew Barrymore show is covered under Appendix A of the WGA's minimum basic agreement, which is currently being struck over. Her show is in the same category as late night shows. The View is also a WGA show. That didn't answer any of these questions, JMV, which is that she's saying she's complying. And JMV, I'm starting to doubt that you're a captain, even though I'm grateful to have you here. Xeno says, forget about Drew Barrymore. I want to know if JMV is a WGA captain or not. LOL, yeah, me too. Me too. Jazra says, JMV could tell you, but then he'd have to kill you. JMV says, I'm not saying trust me, bro. LOL, I'm referencing what the actual WGA East said. Okay, let me go to, what have they said about Drew Barrymore's show and what she's doing? Let me check out WGA's. And are you a captain or not? That won't give away your identity. There's thousands of them. I don't see anything on their Instagram about this. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, though. I'm going through their story. Okay, yeah, okay. WGA East story. NYC picket alert tomorrow. Join us in holding the picket line at the Drew Barrymore show as they resume taping in the middle of dual Hollywood strikes. So are they saying that they're picketing there? They're picketing against her show? Let's see. Is it against the rules of the strike for her to film if she's not using writers? This doesn't look good. This doesn't look good. Why would she do that, though? You guys don't think that the studio told her that she had permission to do this? I just can't see a world in which Drew Barrymore, person of the people, yes, she does come from a line of, she's definitely a Nepo baby. But why on earth would she risk her entire career and likeness? Wait, JMV says, I never said the captain. JMV, yes, you did. You said, I quite literally am. I said, are you a captain or a spokesperson for the WGA? And you said, I literally am. He said, I meant I literally do know it's the truth. I want to see what they say. The Drew Barrymore show itself is considered a struck show by the WGA. Jeremy, how do you know it's the truth, though? Yeah, now we're all getting skeptical of each other. Still, it's the studios that we need to be fighting, not the individuals. But if Drew Barrymore openly and knowingly is going against the WGA's picket line and is scabbing, then that's super fucked up and confusing. And I don't know why on earth she would do that. And I don't know celebs that would go on her show while she does that. So, as Mike Joyce says, the truth is out there. Really, really valid point. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Support the show. Support me being here. Support me being here, not crossing the picket line, as life is genuinely so difficult right now because I am not doing so. Okay. A couple other things that I wanted to talk about. This might be of no interest to any of you guys, but I think it will be once I explain why I wanted to talk about it. So there was all those rumors that Kim K and Tom Brady were dating. By the way, bummer of a loss for the Patriots today. However, so cool to see Brady back on the field. Super cool to see his speech at halftime. Excited for June 12th of next year. All of that stuff. Okay. Anyway, there had been those rumors a while ago. Then we found out that Brady was dating a model and then a different model, whatever. But then it came out today or yesterday, not came out factually, but rumors are started circulating that Kim K is now dating Odell Beckham Jr. The only reason this is relevant is because 7 years ago, there were rumors that Chloe was dating Odell Beckham Jr. And the internet seems to be having this debate right now, which who the fuck knows if Chloe and Odell ever dated? Both of them denied it at the time. And Odell said, I was never talking to Chloe, even though there were some pictures of them chatting, literally chatting, but who knows? But that did really, those pictures really fucked up other relationships of mine. So it's like, I am curious. The internet was like, yeah, but that was 7 years ago. Even if Chloe dated him 7 years ago, it's fine for Kim to date him now. When it comes to siblings, I feel like there's no limit of statute of limitation, right? Like you can never date somebody your sibling dated. As far as I'm concerned, you just can never date somebody your siblings have dated. I just feel like that's the case. Yeah, and that's literally all I want to talk about with the Kim K thing, but it's fucking bizarro. And yeah, like I said, rabbit holes and me going down them. Streamlabs.com/RoxyDryer. Do you think siblings can date the same person if they're 7 years apart? Or do you think you should never date the same person as your sibling? Jasper says hard agree. Yeah. Yeah. Jake says it goes beyond siblings, good friends too. Yep, totally that too. Yeah, just seems kind of fucked to me. Only here for a few more minutes. So streamhouse.com/Roxy Stryer. Seems like going back to talk show stuff, Fallon stuff, and then I saw that there was like allegations on Kelly Clarkson set too, not specifically of Kelly, but of just the atmosphere there. And now we're hearing the stuff about Drew, which is completely different accusations, but feels like these talk shows need a fucking facelift, right? Like a massive, massive facelift in general. Like they really need from the top down, inside out, to be gutted. There needs to be some checks and balances and all this stuff. Because whoa. They need it's like every single show that we hear about, from Ellen's show to Fallon's show to every show. Straight up every show. Odell is problematic anyway. Oh my God. It's like I can't keep up with all the people that are problematic anymore. Wouldn't it be nice and easier if all people were good? All right. The support has stopped rolling in, and therefore I must go. Christian just texted me some article too, or video that I really want to see so that I can be caught up. Apparently, David Grush is whistleblowing some more, and that came out an hour ago, and I need to watch this immediately because you guys know how much I care about the UAP stuff. So I will do that. As you know, Conan does remain a non-problematic king. Totally. Yeah, I love him. Love Jon Stewart. And love Hassan Minaj. And those are my peeps. Okay, so much love. Stay safe, stay sane. Put down the toilet seat and the lid. We don't want those buffoons. Don't remember the Holocaust. Justice for all the people who lost their lives due to excessive force. My body, my choice. Wherever you're on the rainbow, we love you. We stand with the women of Iran, some of the bravest women we've ever seen. Golden sparkles for the Zamon himself, Glenn Caesar. Thinking about you. Hoping you're doing okay. Hope that at some point we hear an update on you. And fuck these studios, the way that they're treating people. And also, please, oh please don't let Drew do something horribly unlikable. Oh boy. All right, much love, and I will see you later.